Hey, 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 this is Vikas, your wisdom coach, coming to you once again with a dose of wisdom to keep you steady and stable and shining as we go through the storm of life. Today's lesson is a big lesson for all of us. I've been talking a lot in the past videos about so many different things, and from the last video, I have received so many messages and feedback, compliments, and how people have been impacted. And thank you so much. I'm so happy that the wisdom that I'm sharing is touching lives and changing lives all around the world. I'm so blessed. I'm so honored that you write back to me. And we have also received some questions which I'll be answering once again at the end of our episode today. But I've talked about a lot, right? I've talked about delay is the death of dreams. I've talked about don't do drama. I've talked about think long term but act short term, right? I've talked about the fact that the virus is not out there, the virus is in here, right? I've talked about so many different messages, right? It's not the end, it's a bend. And it's not an obstacle, it's an opportunity, right? Different ways of looking at life. But today's main message is this, and it's a very important one, so I want you to take note, write it down, and you need to pay attention to this. You are your own best asset. You are your own best asset. Now, what is an asset? An asset is something that grows. An asset is something that continues to evolve. An asset is something that matures, that nourishes. And you are your own best asset. So when you think of yourself as an asset, it means a few things, all right? Because this is really a mantra for living life. So I want to go a little bit deep and share wisdom that's going to change your life, impact your life in a positive way. If you are an asset, then what should you do with that, right? How should you live your life if you are an asset? So the first step is to acknowledge, is to accept the fact that you're an asset. Because a lot of people in this world cannot think good of themselves, cannot think positively of themselves. To flip it around, I can put it another way. A lot of people in the world live in guilt, in fear, in shame, in regret. We devalue ourselves. And when we do that, when we devalue ourselves, when we discount ourselves, when we think we are not good enough, we can't nourish ourselves, we are not worth it, we don't deserve it. When we have thoughts like this, then we are not treating ourselves as an asset. So in other words, we are denying our reality, because the reality is that you are your best asset. So step one is to simply come to a place of acceptance and say, yes, this is true. Perhaps I don't see how, perhaps I don't know what to do with this asset, but yes, this is true, that I am my own best asset. Accept that fact, acknowledge that fact, that's step one, because then only can you go forward. As long as you're denying something, you cannot embrace it, which means you cannot change it, you cannot benefit from it, right? So I want to accept the fact that I am my own best asset. Now, if you do that, you can go to step two. What's step two? Step two is to grow this asset, right? Because let's presume that your house is your asset, okay? Let's just presume that. Now, I know there's a whole narrative out there which says your house is not an asset, but I don't quite prescribe to that. In many ways it is, because it all depends on perspective and context. Let's just say, right, for the sake of this experiment, for the sake of this example, that your house is your asset. Now, what should you do with that house, right? If you neglect it, guess what happens to this asset? It starts to deteriorate, it starts to degrade. And when it does that, when it deteriorates, it degrades, it devalues. So remember, if something is an asset and you ignore it, you deny it, you don't take care of it, it will degrade and it will devalue. Apply the same to yourself. If I am an asset, if you are an asset, then I owe it to myself to give attention to myself. All right? Because if you have an asset, you must give attention to that asset. Otherwise, it will degrade and then it will devalue. So I need to give attention to myself so that I can keep myself nourished, cherished, I can keep myself feeling good, I can help myself to increase the value, not decrease the value that I have. And you can put this also in a very practical perspective, because listen, all the wisdom that I share with you is practical wisdom, okay? I have a specific term that my students use for the kind of wisdom that I share, because I coach businesses, I coach CEOs, I coach entrepreneurs, I coach celebrities, I coach individuals, right? Doing whatever they do at all levels. It's not just somebody who's at a higher level, but also someone who's just starting out, all levels. So when I share the wisdom, people have given it a certain label. And the label is practical wisdom. It's spiritual, practical wisdom, because I help you to improve the results of your life. I show you the way to do that with minimum effort, maximum result, because that's wisdom. Minimum effort, maximum result. So it's very practical, all right? So remember, if let's say you have a house and you want to increase that value, you need to pay attention so that you can actually upgrade it, not degrade it, right? So if I'm ignoring my asset, it'll degrade, it'll devalue. Apply that in a very practical manner to, let's say, your work. If you have a business, if you are running your own business or working in a business, or you have let's just say you're part of a corporate structure, and you want to increase your results. You want to increase what you're earning or what you're getting as your salary at the end of the month, or as a business person at the end of the year, right? So you want to increase that. How are you going to increase that? The first thing is to accept the fact that this job or this business that you're running is an asset, and therefore then you want to give attention to it. If you're ignoring something, it'll never go up in value. Wherever you put your attention, remember the rule from last time, where focus goes, energy flows, and results show. So you want to give your attention is focus, right? So you want to give your attention to something, and that's when it starts to increase in value, because you'll work on it. So the only way to grow the amount of salary you're getting or the kind of profits you're making at the end of the year is to actually give attention and focus to the work you're doing or to the business you're running. All right, so that's how we start to increase the value of an asset. Now, the next step after this, right? We are on step 3 now. Step 3 is to work on upgrading the asset. So I want to add on something to it. An upgrade means an addition of something. So if I am my own best asset and I want to increase the value that I'm giving and that I'm receiving, because that's karma for you. Remember, I've been talking so much about karma. What I'm doing through these videos is I'm showing you the spiritual blueprint of life. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing you the spiritual blueprint of this material, practical life. And that's why when you can go in and with wisdom make a few tweaks, you get a completely new result. And that's why I constantly keep on repeating, it's minimum effort, maximum result. So I want to add on something to this asset so that it'll increase the value that I'm giving and the value I'm getting. That's karma. You sow and you reap. As you give out, so you get back, right? So I want to increase what I'm giving out. How can I do that? One way is to put in more effort. So, you're working 10 hours a day, well, take it to 12 hours a day. But as a coach, I would never advise you to do that, because then you're just selling your time, right? And you're just selling more of your effort. You're not selling the value or selling the result. So what you want to do is you want to add on something to yourself. Perhaps a new skill. Perhaps a new way of thinking. Perhaps your perception can be elevated. Because in life, you know what? Perception is reality. Really, it is. For people, perception is reality. We are all living in our own little bubbles, and we are going through these bubbles. We are carrying these bubbles with us wherever we go in life. And that bubble literally is defined by the mindset you carry, which has the perception you have. So going through this coronavirus pandemic, there are people who are panicking, and then there's people who are their neighbors who are absolutely cool and calm. Why is that? It's based on perspective. And it's not based on a dollar figure. Let's say somebody has $500,000 in savings, but that person feels and thinks that's not enough, then they will panic. So the perception is that this $500,000 of saving is not enough, and then that leads to panic. Whereas the neighbor is someone who has only 200,000 in savings. But their perception is, you know what, it's enough for me. I can bring down my consumption levels. I can bring down my expenses, and it's more than enough for me. And then they are not in panic. They are in peace. So it's a matter of perception, because perception becomes our reality for us. So perhaps you want to increase your perception. Perhaps you want to learn a new skill. Perhaps you want to train yourself to grow yourself so that you can provide more value in an effective way for people. Maybe get a qualification, maybe get a certification. And that's where it brings me back to one of my main key messages. The obstacle is the opportunity. What have you been doing with your time? How are you spending the entire day? Yes, of course, you must catch up with whatever you need to catch up on. You need to sleep more, you need to exercise more, maybe you need to spend more time with your family and kids. But if that takes up all your day, then you are not growing this asset. You need to grow yourself in some way, right? You need to learn more to earn more, right? You need to upgrade the asset so that the value can be more, the value that you give out, and therefore the value that you get back, because you want to use this time to prepare for your future. So I want you to think of yourself like an asset. Is very important, because unconsciously when we live, right, we forget that we have tremendous value to offer the world. And when we forget that, our attention shifts from ourselves, then what happens is that it gets caught up with mundane things. And that's why I talked about, don't be a prisoner of the mundane. Don't be caught in the chains of the mundane. You need to break free. So a word of warning, your life can be very easily occupied by all the small things of your life. The regular, mundane, routine things. Now, I'm not saying that they are small in terms of significance, but they are done on a repeated, regular, routine basis, and they'll carry on regardless of other things. So be careful, beware, watch out, because your life can be caught up just by being entertained, just by taking care of the kids or the home or the cleaning aspects of life, right? And none of that is going to help you to grow your value or to upgrade this asset. So yes, spend time with the kids. Yes, take care of your house, clean it up. Yes, sleep a little bit more. Yes, exercise a bit more. All of that is good, but you need to grow your potential. You need to do something to upskill yourself, to grow yourself. Because you are your own best asset. And if you're not taking care of yourself, tell me who is? Who is? Who's helping you to grow if you are not initiating that process? Now, once you initiate that process, once you are determined and conscious, I want to grow, then a lot of things become possible for you, right? Because please remember this, all right? Time never comes back. Time never comes back. Life never goes in reverse. Life only goes in forward gear. So, delay is the death of dreams. The longer you delay, the more you're dying. Use this time wisely. Upskill yourself, upgrade yourself. And then when we come out on the other side of this hibernation, then we are ready to give more value to the world and therefore also receive more value to the world. And stop telling yourself you're not an asset, because I know a lot of you do that. You are absolutely, totally worth it. You are absolutely, totally valuable to yourself and the world. So stop beating yourself up. And stop stopping yourself. You need to shine. You have one life to live. Don't die with regrets, right? Don't die with your music inside you. You need to be able to get clear about what you want to do with this life and then go out and do it. Remember this, all right? It's better to fail if you have tried than to fail when you have never tried. I'm still talking about failure, and failure is not a bad thing because every successful person knows it. Successful people are not scared of failure. They know that failure is a stone on that journey. I'm going to have to step over that stone. But if you have tried and you fail, it's 100 times better than if you never tried and you failed. So you have to make a commitment to yourself that you are an asset and you are going to take this asset and you're going to give that value to the world. You're not going to let people devalue your asset. You're not going to devalue yourself. You're not going to allow the world to discount you. And you are not going to delay your dreams and die in the bargain. One life to live. And it's short. You've got to make it sweet. Remember this. One life to live, and it's short. You've got to make it sweet. So today's key lesson, and you can see how passionate I am about this, all right? Because I see so many people devaluing themselves. And not only that, one way we devalue ourselves is we waste our time. We waste our time because time is life. Life is time. What else is life? Tell me. Come on, tell me how old you are. I can promise you just gave me a figure that's a number, right? You told me a number. I'm 32. I'm 42. So you're giving me a number of time, a unit of time. Life is time. Time is life. So one way you devalue this asset is when you waste your time. Waste your time. So remember that do what's necessary, sleep, eat, exercise, spend time with family, take care of the house, clean up the house, spend time with the kids. But then, what are you doing to grow yourself? Because time is life, life is time, and do not delay your dreams. Do not devalue yourself, do not discount yourself, and do not delay your dreams. I'm here to help you. If you need help, reach out. I'm happy to support you. But you are your own best asset. Make sure you upgrade, upskill, upvalue this asset so that the world gives you massive value also. In your life, in your relationships, in your business, in your job, wherever you are. Don't discount yourself, don't degrade yourself, don't devalue yourself. You are your own best asset. Let's polish you up. Okay, so time for questions. So there's a whole number of questions, and listen, I'm listing them all, but I'll try and answer 3 questions in every video. The first question for today is written by a wonderful lady, and she says that I've enjoyed your videos so much that I've even got my daughter, my teenage daughter, to listen to these videos. And she started from the first video, and she's a young girl, and her question was, yes, it all sounds very good, be positive, because if you remember in the first video I gave you the 5 P's, right? So be positive. It sounds great, but how do I do that? All right, now the answer to this is very simple. You've got to tell her to watch the next video and the next video, because you'll realize that by the time you're in the 3rd or the 4th video, I actually give you a technique. If you remember, I give you a technique called 10 to Thrive, which is one of my favorite techniques, and it's guaranteed to keep you positive, blessed, happy on a daily basis. And it takes only 10 to thrive. All right, so tell her to keep on watching, and she must have that patience and she must have the persistence if she wants to get something of value. Remember, valuable things take work. Valuable things don't come easy. Valuable things don't come cheap. So she has to be willing to give it the work it needs, give it the time it needs. So tell her patience, persistence. Come in for 2nd video, come in and watch the 3rd video, and then she'll realize that here's a technique that some of the greatest, most successful people in the world use, which I've taught them. So now it's available for you, right? First time it was revealed on these videos. 10 to Thrive, so that's the answer. The second question is, does karma apply to me even though I don't believe in it? Great question. I like this one. Does karma apply to me even if I don't believe in it? So first of all right, listen, what is karma? It's a blueprint of life, right? That's my definition. It's a blueprint of this entire universe, and it's a blueprint of your life because you're a part of the universe. So it works on the micro level, which means your blueprint. It works on the macro level, which means the global blueprint. But the whole idea of karma was discovered in ancient times by these ancient enlightened masters. And literally, if you study the history of wisdom on the planet, you'll realize that every enlightened teacher anywhere in the world, from any background, any theology, philosophy, narrative, they have always talked about the concept of karma. They just called it something different, but the concept was the same. So it's something that has gone through millennia, right? Thousands and thousands of years. So if something has been talked about that long, you've got to give it some credit that it possibly is true. So be open to it. The second thing, understand that life works on laws. Okay, everything works on laws. I mean, look at your human body. Your human body works on laws. You know, your human system, it has certain processes and systems, the reproductive system, the digestive system, the nervous system, right? The cardiovascular system. There's a system for everything. And what does system mean? System means there are processes and there are laws. You go against those laws, you break down the system, pain. And if you go with the laws, keep that system and the processes benefit, right? So everything works on laws. Take a country works on laws, right? Take nature works on laws. But what about all of existence? Well, existence also works on laws, principles. They are not physical, they are not material, they are non-physical or called metaphysical. Another word for metaphysical is spiritual. So karma is the spiritual blueprint of the material life that you're living. And just because you can't see the laws, just because you don't know the laws, doesn't mean they don't apply to you. All right, I mean, take the physical law of gravity, right? For hundreds of years, people did not know about gravity. I mean, something fell down, you throw it up, it comes down again. People thought it's just the will of the gods. But as I explained earlier, it's only an answer we give to satisfy ourselves. And then someone discovered the science of gravity. They understood the law and they explored it and they understood it and then they taught it to others. And they proved it. Right? There's many ways you can prove it. One way to prove it is with results. So once they prove it, now everyone understands the law of gravity, and now actually you can take advantage of the law of gravity by understanding what it is. So when you understand something, the next step to it is mastering it, right? So karma is the spiritual, non-physical law, which is a science in a way, and that is something that the ancient masters explored. Like they were scientists, they were experimenters, they explored. They discovered these laws, they went deep into them, and when they understood them, then they could master them, right? So what I do is I make karma very, very simple, because my clients and students around the world, they say that that's my superpower, right? My superpower is taking the deepest wisdom and making it very, very simple for people to understand. So I gave you really deep concepts, but in such simple ways that you get it. So karma is the law, the spiritual law of the physical universe. And when you understand karma is when you'll understand what you're doing wrong and how to set it right. So literally, if you want to achieve the best results you can, if you want to correct what's wrong in your life, and if you want to accomplish your goals with minimum effort, maximum result, you need to understand karma. Does it apply to you even if you don't believe it? Yes, it does. Gravity applies to everyone, even to a child who doesn't believe it. Okay, gravity applies to everyone, even to an adult who lives in the jungles of the Amazon and never studied science and never understood gravity, but it still applies to them and they live under it. You are living under karma. You are part of the karma universe, the karma science. And the sooner you understand it, the better and faster you can benefit from it. So actually, this reminds me that I've been working, I've been doing a lot to upgrade this asset, right? And I've been working on a couple of projects all together at the same time. I have a whole bunch of things going on. But one of these projects is related to karma, and it will be revealed soon. So wait for that news, all right? So yes, karma applies to you whether you believe it or not, but the sooner you believe it, the sooner you learn it and understand it, the faster you can begin to benefit from it. So let's get you started. Question 3, the last one for this session. In the last session, you mentioned 3 important things. What's really valuable for life? If you remember, I was saying that there's 3 things which are very important. grow your health, take care of your health. So health was number one. Second one was relationships and the people you're with. And you want to be with people who will make you grow, not make you slow. And then you talked about your potential and purpose, right? So the question here is, you talked about those three things, but what about wealth? Where does wealth come in the picture? And listen, I'm a very practical person, all right? Wealth is important, okay? Let me say that up front. Wealth is important. You need to be able to earn money. You need to be able to develop some skills that help you to pay the bills, all right? You need skills that pay the bills. So wealth is important, but why is it important, right? Why is it important? Because wealth, earning money, gives me the ability to have a better life. Earning money gives me the choices to have a better life. I can buy what I want. I can buy a better quality of food. I can buy a better quality of drink. I can buy a better quality of learning, of training, right? Of coaching. I can buy a better seat on the plane when I start flying again, right? So money is valuable, but money is important and valuable only for what it brings you. So listen to this line very carefully. Money is useful only when it's used, right? If it's not used, it's not useful for you. So money sitting in your wallet or money sitting in your bank account is really not useful at all. It's just sitting there, and anything that just sits there decays, right? And I mean, practically speaking, look, I'm also called the wealth coach. Any money which is just sitting there is devaluing, right? Because you're not giving it attention, you're not making it grow. Just like you must make yourself grow to increase the value of your asset. If you don't make money grow, it loses its value. So how do you make money grow? You exchange it for something that helps you grow or makes your life better. All of money is for exchange. It's for using for something, right? So you give your money, you get a meal in return. You give your money, you buy a seat on the plane. You give your money, then you get some coaching. Or those of you, okay, listen, be very practical. Those of you who purchase the meditation online program, and those of you who purchase that 1 year coaching with me, weekly coaching with me, right? What did you do? You exchanged X amount of dollars, $67 or $97 if I'm correct. You exchanged that to get some wisdom, to get some coaching. And that helps your life to be better. So, right, so all of money is exchange. But other than that, it has no value. So it's not supposed to be your priority. And this is where I see a lot of people have gone wrong. All right, and I coach people on all levels of income. People who are just starting out earning $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, to people who are earning $4 million a month, all right, believe me. So the point is, money should never be the focus of our life. Money is a means to an end. What is the end? The end is a better life. Money is a method of exchange. Money is useful only when it's used. So if I don't exchange it for something that helps me to grow, it helps me to upgrade this asset, then money is of no use at all. So it's important, but it's not the most important thing. That's why it's not in my top 3. But if you want to earn money, I'll show you an easy way to earn money. Listen, karma, minimum effort, maximum result. It's easy to earn money. Making wealth is not the biggest thing. Making a good relationship happen is more difficult. So if you're struggling with making money, any of you out there, right, get in touch and let's make it happen for you. But it's not the most important thing, and I'll never let it be. If I'm going to be your coach, money will not be the most important thing for you. You will have enough so that you're not focused on it or obsessed about it or addicted to it or nervous about it. You'll have enough so that you can focus on the real things in life. What's the real things? Fulfilling your purpose. Understanding that life is short and you must make it sweet. Understanding that, you have to give your best. Don't die with your music inside you. You have to give your best before it's time to go. When you go empty. That's the way. Live rich, die broke. And when I say die broke, I don't mean broke in money. I mean you're empty on the inside because you gave it all. So those are the 3 questions. Hope you've enjoyed the session. I try to keep it below 30 minutes. So I'm good. I've achieved my goal today. All right. So let me close by reminding you that you are your best asset. Never forget that. Never devalue or discount yourself. I'm here to help you raise your value. Raise what the world is valuing you at. I'm here to help you to upgrade your asset. Let's get started together. This is Vikas, your wisdom coach, reminding you that wisdom is the stabilizer of life. Make wisdom your foundation Let's build our future on it. Because in the end, wisdom wins. Say that. See how good it feels. Wisdom wins. Bye now.